Welcome back to A Seat in a Circle. I wanted to give you a quick story about my involvement with the occult. It did occur years ago in my youth, but I want to share the story with you because I think you may find some value in it. I know it's always helped me when I come into occult practices or walk up against people that are either in it or thinking about entering it or whatever the case might be. So years ago, I was at a nightclub. It was late at night. It was a Friday night, and I was there and I was hanging out with this group of girls. At the time, I had no idea, but they were witches. They were in a coven, and I did not know this. So I was standing there listening to the conversation. There was four of them sitting down, and there was one standing up. In the four sitting down, there was one girl in particular that was extremely agitated and animated. And then there was one girl that had like this command presence about her. It was a weird aura, but she had it. So they were in discussions, and I just kind of stepped into the conversation and kind of caught into it midway. And so the girl that was real animated, she was like, "I don't understand why it didn't work. It should have worked." And so the girl that had the command presence in a very calm voice, she said, "It should have worked. We did all the right steps. We did it the right way. We just could not get in. Did you ever figure out what happened?" So the girl that was real animated, she's like, "I still don't understand. We just kept bouncing back. It made no sense. No sense at all. I've never had a problem like this before, and now I have a problem like this, and it's ridiculous. And that woman, I hate that woman." So to kind of catch you up on the story, what happened? This is a Friday night. I'm watching all of this break loose. On Wednesday night, these girls did some type of seance. They did some type of concept of bringing demons into their dealings, and the idea was they were going to do what's called astral project. Whether you believe in it or not, it does exist out there. People were doing this kind of stuff with demonic help, and so these girls were trying to enter into this woman's house. And the idea was to torment her. Now, the woman that lived in the house, she works with the girl that's the panicky girl. And that woman has the job that the panicky girl wants. And so the panicky girl has been trying her best to get her fired so she could take her job. That was her reasoning for doing all of this. That, and the lady's extremely nice, and she just hates it. And then she found out the lady's a Christian. So a lot of things just kept adding fuel to the fire. So they all decided as a group that they were going to go and harass this woman on a Wednesday night. So pick back up with the girl's conversation. This is where it went. She said, the commanding girl said, "Did you ever figure out what was going on?" And so the panicky girl says, "Yes, they were having a Bible study. Can you believe that?" And so the commanding girl said, "That doesn't matter. We still should have had access." She said, "That doesn't make any sense." "Well, what else? There had to be more." And so the girl says, "Well, she told me that they were actually praying for me. Can you believe that? Praying for me. What kind of..." And then they went into this horrible language, on and on and on. And then she says, "That woman today," which would have been Friday at work, "she wanted to stop and pray with me and pray for me. And I just couldn't believe it." And so all of them started like ranting and raving about Christians and about God and all these horrible things. Now, at the time, I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand who Jesus was either. I didn't have him in my life. But I did understand power. And so something came to my mind, and this is what I said to him. I said, "I don't know what kind of power you guys got, but whatever you went up against, you obviously went up against a greater power." Now, that was probably the absolute worst thing to say to them that you could ever imagine. I had to exit left very quickly. But that stuck with me my whole life, ever since that event happened. And then as I learned later on from other people that knew them and understood the situation, I got more details to it. You see, this woman was a Christian. She was praying for that young girl. She was trying to help that young girl. She was trying to pour into her and share Jesus with her. And all that did was make that girl all the more hostile and all the more violent and angered toward her. Now, I share this with you because you as a Christian, you as a believer, a child of God, there are people out there that are in that practice that do not like you, and they can see you sometimes before you see them. And so I recommend for you to stay close to Jesus and keep your ears and eyes open, and ask for the Holy Spirit to show you things. We're at war. There is a spiritual war going on, and souls are being won and lost. And it is our job to be mindful, because Jesus came, and he came to free us all. And those of us who believe in him, we have that. We have that freedom, and we have that salvation, that eternal salvation. I hope that that story helps you a little bit. At the time when I went through it, I didn't understand it. As I look back at it, it still gives me chills. The darkness is there. The darkness is real. God bless you. Talk to you again soon.